saw Georgia Oregon this past year, and that was a bloodbath. I probably would not take Georgia losing to Oregon in the CFP next year, but if they can avoid
it's a new year, but
I don't know if it's going to be that big of a change in 1 year. You could see it. It's hard, but I could at least see it. I think they're the best sleeper pick for me.
Yeah, I don't hate that. One team that it's hard to, I don't know what to classify them as, is Michigan. It's like they feel like a sleeper. They're down here 54%, 14th in the blue chip ratio, below Penn State. And they've won the damn conference 2 years in a row, and gotten to the playoff. But it feels like you got Ohio State right up there at 85% at number 2. And people talking, myself included, this is the year Penn State breaks through. We're just all kind of, they kind of feel like Georgia or so from 2020, 2021. They just got their head down, going about their business. Everyone's focusing on everyone with the shiny toys and all the big offensive numbers and everything. And they're just, they're chopping wood, if you will, just kind of doing their thing. And they feel like they have a chip on their shoulder, and they're kind of that forgotten about kind of powerhouse program in the Big Ten. I don't know to call them. Can you call them a sleeper when they've won the conference back-to-back years? But it feels like we're kind of sleeping on them again.
Yeah. It's funny because Blake Corrum would be a 99 overall. I think I saw for PFF's NCAA.
That's blasphemy. Blake Corrum 99 overall. Are you kidding me? You got to reserve 99 for superstar. I give Blake Corrum a 94. He's a really good player. 99. That's crazy talk.
JJ McCarthy, another full year.
99 is Leonard Fournette. You gotta. Sorry, I got off on the NCAA talk.
That really hurt you. Blake Corrum being a 99 really bothered
That's terrible. Brock Bowers is a 99. Marvin Harrison Jr. That's a 99 level. Caleb Williams, give him a 90, maybe 98, 99, something like that. 99, that's rarefied air.
Well, I also think it's a funny thing too. I like the Kirby comparison a little bit, where it's they've had the heartbreaking moments now back-to-back years in the playoff. It's easy to forget that Georgia had those. Georgia in the early Kirby years, where you're oh God, how many more CFP heartbreaks can we take here before we break through? And I mean, this will change.
And SEC championship,
right? And the difference now is going from 4 to 12. That will obviously change things, but they should be there's so much that's so fascinating about Michigan this year because they've gone back-to-back. Their team is just as loaded this year as they've been the last 2 years. They've made the playoff, but Ohio State obviously loaded all across the board. New quarterback. We'll see what Kyle McCord looks like under center, but they have the best receiver duo. I wouldn't say room as of right now, but best duo. 2 potential top 10, top 15 picks there. You've beaten them back-to-back years. What does that look like for Ohio State and Ryan Day if he loses 3 years in a row to Michigan? Does he keep his job if he loses to Michigan 3 years in a row, regardless of everything else around him? And then if you're Michigan, you're we should have beaten TCU. That was just a game from hell, and obviously it did not end in a great way for them. But, you get destroyed by Georgia 2 years ago, but you've learned a lot since then. You're still recruiting well. You didn't have the guy. Cade McNamara wasn't the guy. You have the 5-star guy here now. You bring in another 5-star quarterback, Jaden Davis, who will be in the fold after JJ. You're recruiting well at that spot. I mean, I think they're a really fun sleeper where you, like you said, with Penn State, it feels like they should. And everyone is going to say Ohio State. I have Ohio State winning the national title. That's my pick. I think it's Ohio State, LSU, and Ohio State wins. But I don't feel like I'm not just putting my livelihood on it. I just think that it's just going to be so fascinating because I don't think anyone's going to want to pick Michigan based on what we've seen the last 2 playoff runs. And I wonder if that helps them. They're yeah, pick against us again. We're just going to keep Xing out the Michigan Wolverines for making the CFP. Keep riding in Ohio State. Keep riding in Penn State. Keep riding in Texas. That's all great. We're going to just go 12-0 again and then make the playoff. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do feel like that TCU game was the worst case scenario. You threw 2 pick sixes. I'm not sure how many times they turned it over. The one on the goal line where it probably should have been a touchdown, a 50-yard touchdown pass, and then they fumbled on the next play. So there was just so many things that happened, but if hypothetically you do beat TCU and then get routed by Georgia. Maybe it's 49-7, not 65-7. Like they beat TCU. Like, do you feel better about your season if you got just blasted by Georgia 2 years in a row now? Like, it's the team that won the national championship. They're obviously beating a lot of people both years, but it almost feels like it might be more demoralizing if you see 2 years in a row, wow, we're like so far from the mountaintop. Like, we are not even in the same stratosphere as this number one program right now. Whereas TCU, you can kind of be like, that was a fluke game. We would have given Georgia so much better game. Like, next year, we're still building towards something. This is year one of J.J. McCarthy. Like, there's still, like, it's encouraging. You're playing Ohio State in Ann Arbor in 2023, like, going for 3 straight, which I think the last time that happened, I think I heard was, like, 96, 97, 98 or something like that. So that's just massive. Like, as a Georgia fan that experienced the Georgia-Florida just domination for so many years. I remember 11, 12, 13 when Georgia won 3 in a row. It was like, have we really beaten Florida 3 years in a row? Like, I didn't even understand. I was 23 years old before we ever saw Georgia win 3 games in a row. Like, that's what Michigan could potentially be doing this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun to watch. I think they're going to be a really fun one. Auburn, though, someone made a joke where it was like Brian Harsin tried as hard as he could to get Auburn out of that blue chip ratio, but they fired him just before they fell out of that ratio, and now Hugh Freeze is back in there to get them right back in there. So good for Auburn to stay in that all-encompassing number. But I do wonder, too, Matt Green, we can end it here. With Bama being at 90%, which I don't think people understand how preposterous that is, 90% of their roster this year is going to be 4- and 5-star blue chip guys. That's insane. Like, that is an insane number when you consider that.
They were at 89% last year, too.
Like, would that drive you more nuts? Is it more of an indictment? Does Alabama deserve more criticism for not getting it done with that many dudes now? Like, it seems kind of crazy to, like, pick at Alabama for anything, but, like, to have this much talent and to still not get over the Georgia hump the last couple of years, or lose to LSU last year, to lose at Tennessee, to not win a title with Bryce Young, who was arguably the best quarterback in the sport, best player overall last year. Like, I do kind of wonder if Alabama fans are like, all right, it's great that we're still recruiting at an all-time great level and we have these classes, but it's kind of weird to see Alabama at that number and no one's really afraid of them coming into this year, right? Like, Georgia's not afraid. Ohio State's not afraid.